Hello, beautiful people. Welcome or welcome back to Alexis Faye Yoga. I'm so very glad that you've decided to join me today. Now, today we are doing a full body, everyday yoga flow, and we will round out our practice at the end with a Savasana to let all of that goodness soak in. Now, if that sounds good to you, go ahead and roll out your mat and we'll flow right into it. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another week of yoga. Be firm. Sending that right foot back. Now we will begin our class by laying flat on our mat. Making our way to a Savasana, a comfortable spot. And we'll take a few moments here to bring our attention to our breath, to bring our attention into our bodies, to notice how we are feeling today, and to allow the breath to grow a little deeper. Bringing in a large breath through the nose. We'll take that breath down low into the abdomen, filling the belly with air before releasing the breath completely. We'll repeat this a couple more times. Big breaths in, envisioning that breath going all the way throughout the body. And with our exhales, carrying out any thoughts that we don't need, or any tension or tightness in the body that we can let go of. Now with our next in-breath, we'll circle the arms up overhead, full body stretch, reach with the fingers, we'll point and reach with the toes and take up space. Sliding the elbows out alongside of our shoulders. Fingertips will point towards the back or top of our mat. And we'll start to walk the bottoms of the feet in and then out towards the outer edges of our mat. Now we'll windshield wiper the knees side to side and dropping both knees in the same direction all the way over, picking them up through center, then all the way over to the other side. Now we'll take both knees back up towards the ceiling and heel toe the feet over towards our left side. Then drop both knees down to that left side. We'll pick up the left heel, drape it over the right knee to add a little extra pressure. And we can keep the arms where they are, or we can extend that right arm out at a diagonal from the shoulder to open up across the front of our right shoulder. We'll start to remove the left foot from the right knee. Picking up both knees, and we'll start to heel toe them back into center. And then all the way over to our right side. Drop both knees over to the right. And again, we have an option to pick up our bottom foot, which will be our right foot, and drape it over our left knee. Now we can keep both arms in our cactus, or we can reach with our left hand out at a diagonal. Now we're moving the right foot from the left knee. We'll pick both knees back up and heel toe till the heels are in line with the hips. We'll slide the arms down alongside the body as we lift both legs up towards the ceiling. Now we can use the hands to hold to the legs here, or we can reach the arms up to the ceiling as well. And we'll wiggle out the fingers, wiggle out the toes, point and flex and circle all around. From here, we'll drop the left knee down to the chest, wrap the arms around the left shin, and we'll lower the right leg all the way down to the floor. A nice big squeeze to our left knee. And then we'll guide our left leg over the right side of the body for a gentle twist. Now we can extend our left arm out from the shoulder, and we can follow the hand with the eyes. Or we could keep the eyes up towards the ceiling. We'll come back to our mat and give another big squeeze to the left leg before we switch. And bring the right leg in, hug it to the chest, and extend the left leg out long. Nice big squeeze before we guide that right knee over our left side. And again, we have an option to extend the right arm out to the side and follow the right hand with the eyes, or keep the eyes up to the ceiling. Now we'll come back to our mat again and give another big squeeze to our right leg before we bring our left leg back up, wrapping the arms around both legs. We can lift the back of the head off the mat, or we can keep the back of the head down. We'll rock and roll side to side. And from here, we're going to make our way to standing. So we can rock forward and back to pop us up onto our feet, or we can rock all the way onto our side to press into the floor and make our way up to standing from there. We'll move to our Tadasana, bringing ankles under knees, under hips, picking up the toes, spreading them out nice and wide before we set them down. Lift the shoulders up to the ears. We'll work them back and down the spine, dropping the shoulders away from the ears as we rotate the palms forward. Close the eyes. We'll press down through the feet. With an in breath, we'll circle arms up overhead, reach tall towards the sky. And with our exhale, we'll hinge from the waist and bow forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. And with our next exhale, we'll fold forward again and take a little moment to play with this pose. Find some movement here as we soften into our forward fold. With our next in-breath, we'll move to that halfway lift. Again, reaching forward with the top of the head. And with our exhale, we'll fold. Now, sweeping the arms from behind the body down to the floor, we'll drag them along the floor. As we reach the arms out in front, sit the hips back and move to a chair pose. And with an inhale, we'll lift up to standing. We can add a baby back bend if we'd like, or we can keep the eyes forward. Exhale, we'll sweep the arms out to the sides as we bow forward again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We'll shift the arms back behind the body as we shift the hips back. Drag the fingertips along the floor as they come up and out in front of the body, chair pose. And again, with an inhale, we'll reach up towards the ceiling. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Add as much of a bend to the knees as you need to. Drop the fingertips down. We'll pick up the left leg, press it back behind the body as far as the toes will reach. Before we drop those left toes down to the mat. With an in-breath, we'll shift forward, lifting the upper body, shining the chest forward, bending into the right knee and moving to our crescent lunge. And we'll sweep the arms out and around the body, interlocking the fingers. We'll pull the shoulder blades back and down the spine, and we can keep the chest forward. Or we can add a baby back bend, drawing the hands down to the floor as we lift the chest up. Shifting back to a neutral. We'll unentwine the hands and send them up towards the ceiling as we lengthen out through our right leg. We'll lift up a little higher on the toes of our back foot and pivot around to our left side, adding the bend back into our right knee for our warrior two. And from here, we're going to play tug of war. So keeping the hips and the lower body where they are, that nice bend to the right knee. We're going to reach the right hand as far towards the top of the mat as we can. And like we're pulling a rope back, we'll reach as far to the back of the mat as we can. And we'll find this forward and back shift to the upper body. And with an inhale back to our neutral warrior two. And we'll drop our hands down as we lengthen out through our right leg. We can bring them to heart center or keep them down by our sides. But we'll bend a little further through our left knee as we drop the hips down towards the back of our mat. Pressing down through the left foot, we'll shift back up, pick up the right toes, and we'll pivot them to our side mat. Now heels will come in towards center, toes will point away. We'll tuck the hips forward as we drop straight down into our goddess pose. So we're gently pulling the knees back as we're softening the hips down and trying to keep a nice long spine from the tailbone all the way up through the head. So we're not arching the hips back, but we're keeping them tucked and underneath of the spine. Now I can find a slight shift or sway side to side here, or a little bit of a Pilates bounce or pulse. Or we can find our peace in stillness and stay where we are holding. Now with an in-breath, we'll extend both legs. We'll reach the arms out, lift the chest, and move to a star pose. Exhale, swooping the arms out to our sides as we bow the chest forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And we'll start to heel toe the feet in about halfway between our wide-legged forward fold and our normal forward fold. Heels are still in, toes pointed away. And we'll drop the hips down towards the floor as we move to our yogi squat. We can use the elbows as leverage to hold the knees apart. And again here we can find some movement in this pose by rocking onto the tippy toes, rocking side to side. And we'll drop the hands down in front of the body. Press the hands to the floor as we lift the legs up, and then heel toe the rest of the way into our neutral forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Wiggling out a little more. And again, with an inhale, we'll lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Sweep the hands along the floor as we drop the hips back and reach the arms to our chair pose. Now we can always bring hands to heart center if having the shoulders up in this position is uncomfortable or challenges your balance. With an inhale, we'll lift the rest of the way up to standing. Lift the arms up. We can go for that baby back bend, or we can keep the chest forward. And with our exhale, we'll drop the hands down and we'll wiggle out. With an in-breath, lifting the arms towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinging from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, chair pose, send the hips back. And this time we'll hinge all the way forward again. Drop the hands down. And I'll pick up the right leg. Send the right toes as far back as we can. Really reach. And then we'll drop those right toes down to the mat. A full breath in, and an even larger breath back out as we press down into the feet. Lift the upper body, bend through the left knee, and move to our crescent lunge. Now with our exhale, we'll sweep the arms back and around the body, interlocking the fingers, pulling the shoulders back and down the spine. And again, we can keep the chest forward, or we can move to that baby back bend as we draw the hands down towards the floor and lift the chest up towards the sky. Lifting back to center. Unentwining the hands, we'll reach them up. And then we'll lift a little bit higher on our back foot as we pivot our right leg around, moving to our warrior two. Now we'll find that tug of war here again, bending into the left knee. We'll keep the hips where they are as we shift forward and back, moving at a pace that feels right to you. And back to our neutral warrior two. We'll drop the hands down as we extend out through our front leg, through our left leg. We can bring hands to heart center, we can keep them down, but we'll start to bend through our right as we send the hips down towards the floor. Pressing into our right foot to bring us back up. We'll pivot our left toes around to our side mat. And this time, we will bring the feet so they're parallel, or so our toes are slightly in, heels out, so we have an internal rotation to the hips. With an in-breath, we'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and with our exhale, we'll hinge from the waist, forward fold. Now again, we'll take some time to play around in this pose. We can find a way side to side. We can walk the hands from foot to foot. We can find some breath work. Inhaling to our halfway lift, exhaling to fold, or any other way that feels right to move. We'll nod the head yes, and shake the head no, and allow the upper body to be heavy and droop down towards the floor. And with our next in-breath, we'll move to a halfway lift. As we start to heel toe the feet in for our yogi squat. Sliding the feet about halfway in before we drop the hips down and soften into our squat position. Again, we can use the elbows as leverage to hold the knees apart. We can lift the heels up off the mat if that is more helpful, or we can use the hands out in front of the body to help with the balance. Now we will shift further forward, drop the hands down, extend the legs towards straight, and we'll heel toe the feet in the rest of the way. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Reverse swan dive the arms, send them up towards the ceiling. And this time we'll move from here to our chair pose. We can keep the arms up or we can bring them to heart center. But we'll send the hips back behind, bending through both knees and squatting down. Now, potentially, we have an option to rock forward onto the tippy toes and hold our chair pose with the heels up off of the mat. If that is not in your practice today, keep your heels down and ground down through the center of your foot into the mat. Now, potentially, with our heels up, we can start to lift to standing, or we can drop our heels down first before moving to standing. And if our heels are still up now, we'll drop them down and we'll wiggle out. Making our way to the top of the mat. With a nice big inhale, we'll reach arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinging from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. We'll plant the hands down, and this time step both feet back, moving to our plank pose. Spread the fingertips out nice and wide and ground into the earth. We'll shift a little further forward. Exhale, chaturanga to an up dog or a cobra. And then we'll send the hips up and back behind for a down dog. And we'll play around here in this pose. You can pedal out the legs, or we can swivel the hips. Drop the knees down to the mat and make our way to a tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. With an in-breath, we'll shine the chest forward, lift the eyes and the tailbone as we lower the abdomen. With our exhale, we'll curl in towards center, arch up through the spine. And we'll move back and forth with the breath. And we'll move back to our tabletop and shift a little further forward, pressing the palms into the earth so we can stretch up the backs of the wrists. We'll keep the elbows in nice and close to the And we'll keep the elbows in nice and close to the body. And shifting back to our tabletop, we'll send the hips behind. Keep the arms out in front as we curl to a child's pose. Now we can keep the legs close together, or we can walk them out further. We'll press into the palms as we shift forward, and then walk the knees towards the outer edges of the mat. Bring the hands underneath the chest. With an in-breath, we'll reach the left arm up towards the ceiling, having a gentle twist. And with our exhale, we'll thread that left arm all the way through our right side and soften down. We'll press into the right hand to help us unthread the left, reach the left up, and then bring the left down. Take a full breath in and out to reset. And then with our next in-breath, we'll reach the right arm up, and with our exhale, thread the right side through. We'll slide the left hand back in, press through the earth to unthread the right, reach the right up, and bring the right hand down. We'll slide the legs all the way in together so they touch from the knees down to the big toes as we shift back to sit on the legs. Now we'll drop our left ear towards our left shoulder. Bring chin to chest as we roll the right ear towards the right shoulder. Chin to chest and over to the left. And we'll make these half circles back and forth. And bring the eyes forward again. Now we'll take the peace sign, our pointer and middle finger of our dominant hand, to our chin, and we'll gently press the chin back. Take our non-dominant hand to the back of the head, so we have the press back, and then we'll roll forward to bring chin to chest. We'll slowly and gently remove the added pressure of both hands. Before we start to lift the eyes forward again, drop one hand down beside so we can circle the legs all the way around. We'll extend the legs out in front of the body. Once we've scooted to the middle of our mat, we'll bounce the legs out a few times. Before we point the toes up to the sky, engaging all the way up the legs. So the kneecaps will flex and pull up towards the hips. With an in-breath, we'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And we'll spend a little bit of time here focusing on our breath. At the end of each exhale, we'll recheck that posture and sit up a little bit taller. Shift a little further forward and reach a little higher towards the sky. I'll start to shift a little further back and a little further back until we've started to slowly lower our way down to the mat. Once we are there, we can reach the arms up overhead and move back to our full body stretch. Pointing with the toes, reaching with the fingers, taking up space. And we'll close the eyes. Circle the arms down alongside the body, or place them onto the abdomen. We'll do whatever we need to do to get a little more comfortable here for our Savasana. With our next exhale, we'll allow a little more space between our ears and our shoulders. We'll soften the muscles of the face. And add a little more space between the upper and lower teeth. And maybe wiggle the jaw side to side to release out any tension of the jaw. Let the feet fall away from each other. The shoulders droop towards the earth. Let the whole of the body soften and relax towards the floor. As we allow the body to grow still. And we'll do the same with our thoughts. Let any thoughts that are not of the body or of the breath drift to the back of the mind, where they can be dealt with later. As we allow the thoughts to grow quiet. And we'll bring our awareness to our breath. And allow the breath to be a little deeper than normal. A little slower. And to move further through the body. fully letting go of the breath before starting fresh with a new breath in. bring a large breath in through the nose. And let the breath go as a sigh. Starting to invite some movement back into the body. When you are feeling ready, go ahead and roll to one side or the other. We'll take our moment of gratitude here. Thank yourself for coming to your mat today, for taking this time out of your day to refocus on your body, on your breath, and the connection between them. And for taking this time to be with yourself and allow yourself this peace and quiet that truly only you can give to yourself. Now give yourself a nice big mental or physical hug. Say thank you. And then you can start to make your way to a seated position. And blink the eyes open as we sit up nice and tall. We'll drop one hand down to the floor beside us and reach the other arm up and over. Cartwheeling the arms, we'll switch sides. And move back to our neutral. We'll close the eyes one last time as we take a large breath in through the nose. And let it go as a collective sigh. Thank you so very much for joining me today. It is always such a joy and an honor to get to spend this time with you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go in love, go in light, go in peace, and go in joy. Now, if you have made it this far, be sure that you hit that like and subscribe button below. Your support really, really helps me out. And if you would like to support me further, follow the link below to my Patreon and check out my levels of support there. Thank you.